Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. It's time now to review headlines on today's newspapers with the Ombudsman of This Day, an Arise Media Group and This Day Newspaper Limited Group Executive Director, Mr. Kayode Komolafe, and we call him Mr. KK. Good morning, and thank you for joining us on
How are you guys today?
This morning.
We're very good. We're very good. We're doing well.
We're trying. A lot of trying times in Nigeria, but there is hope. I believe there is hope.
But two fantastic interviews today.
We will overcome. As long as we're alive, there is hope.
All right, let's go into the newspaper review. The challenges that Oji mentioned are quite prominent on the cover of This Day on Sunday, the newspaper of record. Let's start from the lead story itself, KK. And it's from Donald Trump. And the lead story says, the lead headline, Trump on Fox News says Nigeria failed to protect citizens. And then the riders prosecute those behind attacks on Christians. Italian Prime Minister tells federal government. U.S. Congressman Moore urges FG to disarm Middle Belt militants. And then Tinubu meets DSS DG, restates commitment to eliminate terrorists. So it's still on the front burner. President Trump is doubling down on his position about Nigeria, still saying that it's a disgrace that all these killings will be going on and little being done by the president or by the government. But here we have the president, after his meeting with the DSS DG, restating his commitment to eliminate terrorists. It's all about security largely. On top of that lead story is the second lead. After verification, CAN puts number of abducted students, teachers in Niger school attack at 315. So we're not dealing with 25, we're not dealing with 230. CAN, Christian Association of Nigeria, is saying the figure at their disposal is about 315. And the riders debunks allegation that school ignored security reports. Governor Bago, that's Governor Bago of Niger State, orders all schools closed till New Year. All schools closed till New Year. You know, there's still some argument and controversy about whether the Minister of Education, Tuji Alausa, actually issued a statement about closing 41 model schools or not, public schools. But here in Niger State, Governor Bago says all schools closed till the new year to forestall. I think there are a few other states that have also done a similar thing. And then the window story. Before then, unite against insecurity or region would decline further. That's from Atiku and Dangote, who are saying that to the northern leaders. That story is on page 5 of today's newspaper. Unite against insecurity or region would decline further. Atiku, Dangote tell northern leaders. And last but not the least, I believe, on the window at G20 Leaders Summit. Of course, we're expecting our own Adesu Agiwasagi, to speak to us about what is happening there. But the window story here says, at G20 Leaders Summit, Tinubu demands fair handling of global financial flows, recurring debt crisis, canvasses equity in global mineral trade, AI governance. And if you look at the cover story, that's the Vice President Kashim Shettima, who's representing President Tinubu there, with the President of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa. Those are the stories on the cover of this day. KK.
Yeah. No doubt, the story of the day is the story of insecurity in the land. If you take both the lead story of this day on Sunday, as well as the second lead, and in fact, the front pages of virtually all the newspapers.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Today, they are all stories of insecurity. Now, let's take both the lead story and the second lead of this day together. That is the the Khan
story, the Trump story,
statistics, as well as the Trump story.
Yeah.
Now, I think at this moment, it is important that both the government and the people of Nigeria should have moral clarity, on this issue of insecurity. There should be clarity of purpose, because there's a lot of tension, controversy, debate going on. That is, quite healthy, because you have a problem, you have to discuss, it, democratically, and then harvest ideas, for the solution. But in the course of the discussion, it is possible to establish, moral clarity. And that is what many people have said, there's a lot of wisdom in that. The first thing to establish is that this problem is a Nigerian problem.
Yeah.
There is insecurity problem, and I don't think there is any debate about that. Nobody is denying it. The government itself, the president himself, as number one, is not denying that we have insecurity problem. And of course, from if you take this list story, now they can't say that actually about 315. That's a very chilling,
that's a huge number.
Chilling statistic, to give, of children, in captivity, That's to show that, nobody, is denying the reality. I think where the disagreement comes in, is the approach, and the perception. And I'm talking about the perception. I want to say that the one that we have control over, and the one which is it is what we do about our problem as Nigerians. We have no control over how outside Nigeria others perceive it. So our approach as a nation, should be driven by what Trump says or what anybody says in America or elsewhere. Either as well wishers or issuing threats. That is secondary. The primary thing is that we have a problem, and the solution is going to come internally. It's Nigerians that are going to solve it. Nobody is coming to save Nigeria, from Nigeria. But of course, Nigeria can get help, But that does not mean that the solution is going to come, from abroad. To have that to me is a great, delusion, and that is why. So if the problem is here, and the solution has to come from here, as a matter of, really on the part of government, it's a constitutional duty that the government must find a solution to it. Then that means that we also have to have unity of purpose. And that's why I'm talking about moral clarity. That's why to have unity of purpose and also be clear, about how we define the problem and how we are solving it. Part of the unity of purpose is that the government, should continue to communicate with the people, effort that is making, and also we should avoid any step or any solution that could be divisive, because we are not going to solve. Because if you are not careful, a solution, or just going to be a prescribed solution, may end up becoming a problem or worsening the problem. So I think that the solution that we should have as a people is to admit our problem as it is, get it quite clear, and then that continue to challenge the Nigerian state, to meet its constitutional responsibility of keeping Nigerians safe for everybody. In fact, I dare say that it's not just only for Nigerians, it's also for all residents of Nigeria. Because at times we often forget that the government also has a responsibility for expatriates, people who are non-Nigerians, who are within the Nigerian territory. So that constitutional responsibility for all residents, anybody within the Nigerian space, regardless of faith, regardless of ethnicity, regardless of region, and the rest. And that's how I believe that it is that holistic, perception of the problem, and that will help rather than the problem now, fueling, what you can call, the fault lines, of the Nigerian society, and the polity, in general.
What will you say to those who might think that it is easy to continue to ask government to do its best if you have not been touched by the murderers, by the terrorists? That if anybody has fallen victim or somebody close to one has fallen victim, that the sort of solution that you will seek will be different. and that if help, as urgently
From
as possible,
anywhere.
could come from anywhere, whether
Right.
it's America or elsewhere, that it should come. And therefore, the idea that we should, haven't given government, such a long time. I mean, government has been dealing with this thing almost forever. And people are saying that, our families are being killed, people of my faith are being targeted, etc. Why should we continue to debate the need to seek assistance urgently?
Okay. I think I agree with you that if we could get help, if we get help from anywhere, we should have it, because if you have a problem. And I think precisely that is what the government is doing. Currently, a team is in the United States, and are actually making progress in terms of engagement with the United States government, meeting, critical, people there, and their mission, from what has been officially in the community, is to seek partnership. To seek help. So precisely what you are saying, is what the government is doing. But I agree with people who are legitimately impatient, with the spirit, to ask the government to do more. And that wise, the government may need to, the Nigerian state now, and its operators may need to re-examine, the strategy.
They have to re-examine the insecurity architecture.
Can I just put that, what I'm talking about, I'm not talking of security architecture, so
re-examine what? Sorry.
Yes, don't put words into my mouth.
No,
I am saying this, you see, when, the way to it is not to be passing a vote of no confidence in the Nigerian state, For heaven's sake.
No, you are going to examine something. Sorry, I was the one that
let me just make my point. I will also listen to you. What I'm saying is that those who are impatient, like Steve put in, who are impatient that maybe why the government may say that it's doing its best, that the best is not good enough. That is quite legitimate, and that the push, should continue, to put, the pressure on the government, to do more, so that we'll keep, Nigerian safe. And in doing so, that it is appropriate, to say that if help will come from any direction, the government should have it. And I'm saying that with the mission, of the team in America, that is exactly, what they are doing. That what we need to do is to engage the outside world. By the way, it's not only America that could from which help could come from, but that we are engaging America, for the purpose, of having partnership, So if you have a problem and a partner is helping you, that is a different thing, from this mentality of Nigeria, saying that you are inviting a foreign nation to come and invade your nation. That cannot be a solution. So I'm saying that is any government anywhere, including the United States government, partnering.
I don't think anybody wants an invasion. I think what people seem to be clamoring for is the understanding from Trump that there could be intervention in dealing directly with the terrorists.
No, you see, Steve, let's get this thing right. Like an individual, a nation must have self-respect. Nigeria is a sovereign nation. Nigeria is not the colony of any nation.
Yes.
There is no nation there is no nation that does not have a security problem. America has its own security problem, that is coping with, and in doing so so if we are getting help, so that we should relate as partners and with respect, So a solution should not come in a way, that we're having an unwarranted assault. When Trump said that he's coming to your country, gun blazing, calling Nigeria a disgraced nation, kind of it. That is not the kind of help we'll be talking about. What we are saying, which is very positive now, the way the Nigerian state now is now engaging America to say, okay, this is the problem we have. This is the reality. How can you help us and having partner? But I'm saying that you cannot discount the factor of asserting our national self-respect, our sovereignty.
We wouldn't have rushed to America if Trump had not spoken in the manner that he did. Otherwise, we would still be saying.
I don't.
Just so you know, the whole time the conversation.
Oh, okay, no.
When I want to talk, Mr. Komolafe will say, say,
What
hold
you
on. So I've been quiet.
I can listen
no,
to
but
you.
it's
No,
okay. You
I
can
can
continue.
listen to
No,
you.
but there was a time I interrupted you. You wanted to say something about examine. So that's why I was trying to remind you, and you I don't think you remembered what you were trying to say. But did you say
What I was trying to say is that with the pressure being put on government that it might be necessary, because I'm not part of the Nigerian state. For God's sake, there are people who are having sleepless nights, trying to solve this problem, that maybe they will need to re-examine their strategy and their approach. Yeah. But you interjected saying the security architecture, and I think that we are not saying the same thing. That is not what I mean.
All right, I thought that's what you meant. Thank you. And that's
so
where
I'm just trying to clarify that there are two different things. Yeah.
And that's where I'm coming. And I believe that the federal government needs to re-examine the security architecture in Nigeria. I mean, I believe that there is the meeting that President Tinubu had with the DSS. I think that was a great...
DG of the DSS.
The DG of the DSS, Tosin Ajayi. I thought that was a great optics, because obviously there's been the conversation about DSS giving intelligence, and there's been no response from, the military, like we saw in, I believe, in Kebbi State. There was that report, and I believe that there was one that was just being debunked from Niger State. And also the Senate had pushed for a recruitment of, 100,000 soldiers. We're having reports that we have... Yes, no, they want
100,000.
This is a push
and we're
by...
under police too.
We're under police. This is a push by Senator Adam Soshomole, who said that, the army is understaffed. They have about 177,000 soldiers governing over 200 million people. How do you even justify that at this time? We're having our girls missing, 24 of them from Kebbi. Now we have 300 abducted. There's so many controversies, which I don't like to dabble in this sort of controversy. And I wanted to just make the point about Donald Trump. He never said he was coming to invade. He said if the security is not fixed, if the federal government does not have their act together, does not get their act right, then in protecting Christians, that's when he would come. So it wasn't even like a threat saying, I am coming right now, I am. And that is why the dialogue is happening at this point. So we should not forget that, that word that he used, if. And he reiterated the same stance on Fox Radio yesterday, calling us a disgraced country, saying that he's going to withdraw aid, which a lot of people have said that even some of the security
that's exactly what will hurt Nigerians more.
No, especially the fact that America has been giving out aid to help secure the security architecture in Nigeria.
Even this
year. There was $300 and something million in August that was approved for security in Nigeria. And we're still having girls being kidnapped. We're still having children being kidnapped in mass. I mean, how can you justify that? So I believe that it was good optics to see Tosin Ajayi with the president of Nigeria yesterday, speaking. And I also would like to commend the fact that the president cancelled his trip to South Africa to address this issue. I think this is what we need to see. And it was also good optics to see Nuhu Ribadu with Pete Hegseth yesterday. The meeting, it was good. We called for it on this table. And
yes, we did.
And I was saying that this was what was going to happen. So the collaboration is what we need. I don't think Nigerians are calling to say, come and invade Nigeria. I believe Nigerians are calling to say, come and help us with this insecurity that is plaguing our nation for decades. That was just the point I was trying to make.
Yeah. The good news is that the discussion has moved from the fear of invasion to that of engagement and calling for some partnership. So I think we're making progress, and I think we should continue to put pressure on government so that we can make greater progress and ensure that all those children that are in captivity, they are freed and the Nigerian space, it's kept safe for every person who is resident within the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
We'll want to touch any other story before we do this time?
Should we do
or should we
Yeah.
go to
Do you have any?
this style?
Should we
Okay,
go
I
this
think we can do this time.
I know why you want to do this time.
Why does he want to do this?
I'll tell you why he wants to do this time. Because we have the legendary Dr. Abati on the cover of this Day Star. Can we pull up
Thank
this
you,
Day Star? There you have it. A man on a mission. Dr. Ruben Abati, a life still unfolding, obviously. Happy birthday again. We did see the beautiful celebration of Dr. Ruben Abati turning 60. At 60, the editor's note states, Dr. Ruben Abati stands in the rare place where experience, intellect, and a sharpened sense of self finally converge. His journey, layered, restless, continuously unfolding, is the story of a man who has refused to stay in one place intellectually. He has been a scholar, a journalist, a columnist, a media strategist, a public servant, a broadcaster, and a national commentator. Yet, at every stage, what stands out is not the title, but the transition. Abati has always been evolving, always becoming. His brilliance announced itself early. Oh, this was so beautiful to read. Konya, well done. That was a beautiful, beautiful tribute to my very great co-anchor and on the morning show. You know, we started hosting the morning show together many years ago. And, you know, before I transitioned into the host of What's Trending, Dr. Ruben Abati, who had been my guide throughout. Again, happy birthday to, you know, I call him the legendary scholar now. And you gave a beautiful tribute on the night that we hosted that dinner. And please, for our viewers, you mind repeating that tribute just quickly, because I think our viewers will really enjoy that aspect of Dr. Abati.
Okay, thank you, Oji.
Yes.
And thank you to Konya and the Disney Style team. Of course, you know, I will not miss any opportunity to say congratulations to a fellow Malabite.
Yes.
You know, Malabites are those who are privileged to have education at the University of Calabar.
Cough.
So we are fellow Malabites. And besides, Ruben, he calls me his in-law. I also call him my in-law, but that's a different story. Now, if you insist on this story, that, you know, on morning show, you know, I always wonder whether the audience, you know, get the context, you know, just when Ruben in his, when it becomes
about the female.
You know, it's talking of, I'm talking about the female Homo sapiens, saying perusing the ventral anatomy of the female Homo sapiens. And I'm saying that those who will understand that are those people who are in the University of Calabar in the late 70s till early 80s. The copyright actually belongs to our famous Vice Chancellor, you know, the late Professor Ayankomi Ayandele, a prominent historian. You know, so there was this story, you know, on the campus, that the relationship between I think a second year male student, you know, with a third year female student. So in the course of the relationship, there was a dispute, you know, and maybe the male student, you know, failing to own up to his responsibility, you know, in the course of what has become, I mean, the product of the relationship. So the Vice Chancellor, you know, famously, you know, summoned the young man and then told him that, you see, by the way, Professor Ayandele was a graduate of the University of Ibadan. You know, he graduated in history from the University of Ibadan and later became a professor there and all that. And I said that, see, throughout my university days in the University of Ibadan, I never perused the ventral anatomy of the female Homo sapiens.
Oh my goodness. Every time I hear it,
so it was true. And he said that. And anyone of I listen to me now of that generation will actually, you know, get the context and then order the young man to accept responsibility
Yes.
for, his
Always so interesting.
You needed to hear that
No, I
again.
needed to hear it again.
Is it the ventral part of it, or is it
or the anatomical?
or is it the anatomical,
It's very
or the female Homo sapiens?
Female Homo sapien. Female Homo sapien and female anatomy when it comes to that.
That is the context of
That's
the
the
story.
legendary Dr. Abati. So it was good that you were able to give me that.
So
context.
congratulations to
Congratulations to
my
you.
fellow Malabite. Yeah.
Those of us who also had the privilege of, working with Dr. Abati at The Guardian, where he started the idea of, 2 columns. You would do a Thursday and then do his normal Sunday column. We got used to the idea that he was monumental. People may not understand, why people call him monumental Ruben Abati. But I think that he has been well celebrated,
Yes.
for his 60th. And he deserves,
He does.
all the celebrations.
Yeah.
I like the fact that he came out with 3 books,
Yes.
at the same time. The sort of brain that he has, he needs to pour out, some of the things going on, in his brain. It was well celebrated. It's well deserving, and I recall when I was going to start the Arise journey, slightly more than 4 years ago, and I spoke to Dr. Abati, and he said, Steve, there's nothing wrong in being on television, that I've enjoyed every bit of it. Give it a try, give it a chance,
And
here we are,
Yes.
here we are today.
Again.
So Dr. Ruben Abati, congratulations, happy 60th once again.
Happy
Great guy.
60th birthday.
Absolutely.
Yeah, great
guy.
mind, great mind.
guy.
Happy 60th birthday to the legendary scholar.
All right, let's return to the issues that KK said all the papers had, and I will want us to quickly highlight, what Vanguard, Punch, The Sun, and Tribune had on cover, particularly as it affects Insecurity 1, and then the G20 summit in South Africa. This is the way that Sunday Vanguard couched it. Kidnappings, 2,496 students abducted. In school attacks since Chibok. Strictly students, almost 2,500.
Wow.
Since Chibok. That is horrendous.
Heartbreaking.
And then if you look at Sunday Sun, Khan opens up on schoolgirls abduction. Deny state government's claimed warning before attack. Says 315 students, just like this day on Sunday reported. Staff also abducted from Niger school. Parents, guardians besiege federal government colleges to withdraw kids. This is not like a coup has happened. This is not like a war, has broken, but isn't it a war of some sort? If parents are now going into schools that have not been shut down by government to say, we want our kids, back home. Punch, on the other hand, says anxiety mounts over fate of abducted 327 pupils. Punch says it's 327. And then the riders kidnapped Niger pupils, now 303. Kebbi, 24 schoolgirls still missing. Children cried as terrorists invaded premises. That's according to Catholic school principal. Tinubu talks tough. More states shut down schools. And then we go to the Tribune. Attacks on Kebbi, Niger schools. Fear of more abductions grips North. Taraba, Niger, Katsina, Kebbi order closure of schools. Hostels. Varsity shot in Kebbi. It has extended to a university in Kebbi State. Niger Khan confirms abduction of 303 students plus 12 teachers. Number of those abducted yet to be confirmed. That's according to Niger government. We never ordered closure of schools nationwide. Federal government clarifies. So you can see the pattern, KK, in all those 4 major. There are other papers, with similar headlines, but all those major newspapers, Tribune, Punch, The Sun, and Vanguard, it's similar. And then a few other stories on the cover of Tribune. Nothing troubles me more than security crisis in Nigeria, especially North. That's President Tinubu speaking. And there's a word of advice from Afenifere. Afenifere urges collaboration with ACF. Celebs waiting ask Tinubu to end bloodletting. And then on the window, we've reactivated efforts to secure Nnamdi Kanu's freedom. That's according to Abia State Governor. And then 3 confirmed dead in Ibadan gas plant explosion. Those are the stories on the cover of Tribune. The last one will be Atiku decries neglect of education, health, development services by government since 2007. A few other papers, as I said, also have on their cover, including this day, the G20 summit that is going on in South Africa, where our own vice president is representing President Tinubu, who had to step down, on that trip, given the veracity, the enormity of the insecurity that we're battling with. Our dear colleague, Adesua, is supposed to join us to bring us up to speed. She did so yesterday or throughout. I'm sure that we possibly might still have her join us to tell us what's been happening over there. There were protests against G20,
against the G20,
including those who are still saying that part of what they are demanding of Ramaphosa is stringent immigration laws. So you still find many black South Africans still talking about the fact that we don't want others.
We don't. What about the story about the Palestinians that were taken over there only recently? Was it last week or this week alone? It was really shocking to see. Did you get how Kanu was misled into life sentence by Eswa lawyer on The Nation?
The Nation. Have we looked at The Nation? That's correct. Let's quickly look at The Nation. The Nation also leads with fresh posers as 315 confirmed abducted from Niger school. And then the posers, according to the Nation, which I think it's a brilliant way to design your cover, it says, how were 315 staff, students moved from the school by bandits? How did gunmen operate for hours without security intervention? What is driving the sudden resurgence of mass abductions? And then allegations of internal sabotage are on the increase. Internal sabotage
within the
people
security or
in the corridors of power.
Yes.
People close to the president himself. People who are supposed to be manning the security, machinery themselves. And then the story that you mentioned, how Kanu was misled, that's on the window, into life sentence by erstwhile lawyer. I mean, this is a gentleman who at one point said, I don't want any lawyer to represent me anymore. I will represent myself. And then he got to the, to the end of the race and he says, I've got no defense whatsoever, to give because the basis upon which I am being tried is non-existent according to him into law. How was he misled? That story, my best saying it, on the cover of The Nation. KK, those are the stories.
The question on the posers, what is driving the sudden resurgence of mass abduction?
Particularly after Trump's threat.
Well, this was what the SGF had alluded to when he said that the threat has reignited this sort of resurgence in a way because, the bandits are feeling more emboldened to react or to act, and this is
isn't that an indictment on the government?
Well,
if you're saying that because Trump says this and therefore bandits came out, shouldn't we be ready for them that they will come out?
Every time be ready for them, especially when they are taking our children. We're getting reports that they might be taking our children.
I think the question that The Nation is asking is a lot more fundamental than that.
It's more fundamental than that.
What is behind this resurgence now?
Yes. Why now? That's the thing, Mr. KK.
I agree with you that the posers on the front page of The Nation, they're quite legitimate one. And I think there are things that the strategists, within the security and defense hierarchy, will need to examine, and look at, in their strategy session, because these are security matters. But I think that they capture to a very large extent, the mood,
Absolutely.
of the
These are the questions that must be asked.
That must be asked, and they are not rhetorical questions. They are questions. They're not rhetorical questions. They are questions that deserve, concrete answers.
Yes.
In terms of, re-examination, of the strategy,
Yes.
of the approach, to solving the problem. So I think they are useful questions for those who draw up the security strategy. One or two things to say, about the security story, which essentially is the story of the day, is that the picture, if you take a panoramic view of all the front pages, this Sunday morning, is that the movement called for sobriety,
Yes.
to sober, not just the state but even the people, because the picture that you have, is a very scary one, that is put, so it's called for sobriety, and also that in terms of the reportage, also we also have a role, the media, the media also has a role, to play in such a way that, the reportage is not done in such a way, that you, inadvertently, and maybe based on a wrong promise, stir up, panic, that it cause, panic, in the system. And that is not to say that you should not reflect, the situation. Let me just concretize the point I'm making.
Yes.
Now, look at the story of Vanguard. Give a statistic. I'm not disputing the figure. I'm not disputing the figure, by the way,
okay.
Because I'm not saying I have an alternative figure. I'm not disputing the figure.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to talk of professionally,
yes.
the way of handling story. Since Chibok, that over
2,496.
Okay, that is the headline. But I'm saying that we don't have to put it in context. Since Chibok, that happened 2014. That is clear. More than 11 years ago. So some of the girls, who are abducted, them, of course, now who will no more be girls now. Biologically they can't be, called girls, anymore. Those of them who are still alive. Some of them are yet to return. Some, have returned. And of course, in another incident, you heard that of Leah Sharibu, who is still there, in captivity.
Yes.
And you have.
Yeah.
Now, if you take that example of, and the same thing, we also, I've also had, abduction of, children from various schools, especially in the northern part of the country, and even here in the south, even here in Lagos, if you remember, at the time that was, abduction. But what I'm talking about reporting is that it's not as if. Because if you just take it like for somebody who may not have the background to the story,
yeah.
Now that some of those who were abducted have been free. So the story also should also reflect that.
I'm sure the story inside will reflect that,
but
it won't matter because the point in headline casting, this is statistics.
Yeah, excuse
what
me.
The editor is basically saying is that in 11 years, precise abductions of school students that have taken place amount to this number. Riders will be, at the end of the day, how many return?
Why don't you allow me to make my point?
I thought you made your point.
No.
Okay.
I've not.
Okay. All right, let's just make that point so that we leave now.
Yes, I've not.
Only because we have just less than.
Yes, I'm saying that when you have that, you're an editor, Steve.
Yes.
When you have that,
that's why I'm defending
yes,
this
in order not to give a sense of panic.
I don't think.
Let me just finish.
Okay. All right.
You said I have a minute, and you're interrupting. I interrupting again. Yes, no, this is not fair.
I apologize.
Now, what I'm saying is that there's also be a rider. 2,000 and this, since we got the statistics, then you should also, to give a balanced picture. How many have been released, so that for somebody who is just only reading the headline, we know that since Chibok we have had 2,400 children, abducted, but that due to the efforts of security and forces, certain numbers. I say it doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't. What is the purpose of that?
It doesn't matter.
These are very
Is that a true story? Is that a true picture?
It is the true picture. It is the true picture. Those are the amount of people that have
the
been
2,400.
kidnapped.
None has been freed. None has been rescued.
In the story.
It is in the story.
And I'm saying that it's all we are talking professionally.
What the editor is
I thought we are talking
communicating
as reporters.
No,
I am saying
what
it
the
ought to
editor
be
is
in
communicating is very clear.
These are children.
about the abduction.
the editor is communicating panic, Abi.
No,
There's
what,
nothing panic
despair.
about
so
it.
it's panic,
that is unprofessional.
That more
That is unprofessional, and I'm saying
that
that journalists have responsibilities to report these issues and not to cause panic.
Okay,
Your point is
not to
noted.
cause panic.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
so panic
That's
is more
noted.
important, not to cause panic.
Thank you.
All right. Well,
Thank you,
Mr.
KK.
Komolafe, always
We're all in
engaged
it now.
this week.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yes.